Hey guys, Outdoor Prepper, welcome back to the channel. We're outside today because it's a nice sunny day, it's midday, and I picked up the Arkpax Core 1200 portable power station and the 200 watt very portable solar panels, which is why we're outside, because I want to unpack these, get them set up, then I want to test these panels, and we're going to talk about the Core 1200 and really put it through its paces. So let's bring the camera in, let's get these unpacked, let's see how they're packaged, and then let's put them to the test. Okay, first things first, let's get the solar panels opened up and get this box off the table. And the reason I picked these up, I thought the price was really good, and even more importantly than that, I'm going to be going on a road trip in about the next year, and I wanted to get some panels that were smaller and easier to take with me, because I'm going to be taking an old two-door Jeep Wrangler, and these panels are pretty compact, and they're not like your typical 200 watt panels that are, to be honest, quite large and take up a lot of space. So that is 100% the reason why I picked these up. And I'll tell you, they're packaged really nicely. A lot of foam padding. You know, I've had other panels in the past that I've bought, and they're literally just thrown in a box with no protection. So these, hopefully you can see on the camera, are super compact, super light. This is going to be a pleasure to throw in the back of an older Jeep. Let's get the actual power station itself open now, the Core 1200. And I don't know what kind of charge this came with from the factory, but I'm actually really hoping that it's not fully charged, because I want to throw these panels on it while we've still got some sun and see what kind of power we can get. Now I'll tell you, historically from testing solar panels, whatever the rating of the panel is, you never really get the full power. So for a 200 watt panel, you'll probably get anywhere between 100 and 150 watts. But you know, we're going to test it and we will find out. So this is packed really nicely. A lot of foam padding. This is not a heavy unit. And I don't know if you could tell that from me picking it up on camera, but not heavy at all. I like the design. It's got two really nice handles. It actually has a nice compartment here in the top where it comes with the charging cable. We're not going to use that right now. We're going to use the solar panels. Ooh, I like this. You can't see this on camera, but I'll turn it around. And I did not realize this when I was buying it, but this has a light, and I love when power stations have lights on them. And I actually like that the light is on the back, because a lot of them put the light on the front, but that kind of blinds you and makes it difficult to see the controls of the power station itself. So let's do this. I'm just going to turn this around. I'm going to adjust the camera. We're going to come in a little bit closer and take a look at the power station, go over the specs, kind of what it can do. Then we're going to get hooked up to the panels. And then after all that, we're going to bring it inside and really put this through its paces. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of zoom in a little bit so you can take a look at kind of the unit and some of the features here, and then we're going to talk about the specs. So right here, I powered it on, and you just press the button, long hold until it boots up. And it's going to be a little hard to see this because we're outside, but the battery's at 30%. It's showing no input and no output. This is great because we're going to hook the panels up. On the left side here, we've got a separate button, which beeps when you turn it on, and that turns on all 4 of the AC outlets. Then we've got 4 USB-A's that have 18 watts and 2 USB-C's that are 100 watts each. That's actually kind of cool. You can turn the beep on or off. I actually like the beep on, to be honest here. And then we've got a 12-volt button, which turns on these 4 barrel plugs, as well as your car cigarette lighter, which has, surprisingly, it says 120 watts max, so that's pretty nice. I showed you early on when we unpacked it, but up top here we've got a very nice storage case. It looks like it has little magnets almost that keep it closed, and the power cord is right inside there. Coming around to the side, pretty uneventful. We've just got the cooling vents, and that's the same on both sides of the unit, which is good because you want to have proper cooling. And then coming around to the back, this is really my favorite feature, is we have a really nice light, and I love that the light is in the back of the unit. So it goes on, it goes flashing, dimmer yet, and then back to off. Over here, this is where your inputs are. So you've got a solar DC input, 12 to 60 volts, and you've got your AC input, which uses the cord that came with it, 100 to 120 volts, and then you've got your reset button right there. And hopefully you can see that. Those are your inputs on the back, which again, I do prefer inputs on the back side of the unit. It just makes a little more logical sense than having it on the front. Just to go over a couple of specs here, the battery is a 1024 watt hour lithium iron phosphate battery, And that is definitely the battery that you want, because you can get up to, or I'm sorry, you can get at least 3,000 charge cycles before the unit is at 80%, battery health or battery life. The unit weighs about 28 pounds. It is 10 inches by 14 by 10 inches. And then what we're really all here for is, obviously it has a 1200 watt pure sine wave inverter, but it can surge to 2400 watts, and we will put that to the test. And then it comes with a cable. So while it's still sunny out, because it's a little midday right now, I want to get this panel hooked up. I'm going to place it right here in the sun. Let's see what kind of power we're going to get. Okay guys, now we're outside in some pretty bright sun, so it's going to be very difficult to see this screen. But we're getting right now about 130 watts on these 200 watt panels. And I think that's pretty good, because I don't have full sun where the panels are currently located, and I don't have them at an optimal angle. Let me just show you. I've got them plugged into the back here of the unit, and we're going to take a walk in the front and then behind the panels. I love that these are so compact and they fold up just so small. Guys, I've had a lot of solar panels in the past, and these are very premium. You can just feel by the way they're made, and I like that there's multiple kickstands so you can adjust the angles. So let me just come around back. Actually, one other thing I want to point out, it had this really nice rope type handle in the pack on the panels with the adapters and everything, so I can actually use this to kind of carry these around, like I said, if I'm camping or taking a road trip. So coming behind the panels, hopefully you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kickstands. And again, I do not have these at the optimal angle, so that's something that I need to kind of play with and figure out what is the best angle for me, kind of in this location. And you can actually adjust. It's a little hard for me to get the camera back here, but you can adjust significantly the angle of the kickstands to get the best angle of the sun to kind of charge these up. So here's kind of just a more pulled out view. And I can't stress enough how important the angle and positioning is. At first, when I set these up, I was kind of standing in front of it and I was getting 30 watts. Then I moved a little bit, I was getting 50. Then I moved the panels more and I was getting 60, and so forth until I got over 100. But it really all depends on the angle of how you have these set up, the angle of the sun, the time of day. I'm going to kind of show you here up in the sky that I've got a lot of tree cover, but the sun is still peeking through. If I had this kind of in a more open type field area where I didn't have as much shade, I'd probably be getting the maximum, if not 200 watts, or very close to it. So let's do this. Let's leave this out here for a while. I want to let this charge, and we'll come back in about an hour or so and see where we are power-wise. Okay guys, so we're back in the house. I left this outside for a little bit over an hour. The sun was kind of going in and out, so I felt like I should just bring it in. Let's take a look and see where we're at, and then we're going to plug it in. All right, so hopefully you can see this on the screen. Let me see if I can zoom a little bit. We're at 45%. Now, one thing I want to mention, because I'm going to plug this in right now to an AC outlet, is that this can charge basically to full in about an hour and a half. So it's got a pretty quick AC charger. I don't know the exact wattage, but we're going to find out right now. I've plugged the cable into the back of the unit, and let's go ahead and plug it into the outlet. And let's see what kind of power this is taking to charge. So we'll give it a second, and then we should hear a relay click. There we go. And you can see on the screen that it's showing the fan, because the fan is going to obviously turn on as it's charging. And then it shows at the top input, and it says right here 1018, 1020. Looks like it's hanging steady around 1020 watts. So it shows that we're at 46% charge, 1020 watt input, and we can see the half circle kind of spinning. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to leave this on here until we're fully charged. And once we're fully charged, then we're going to come back and we're going to start running some tests. I want to try to power devices that this should be able to power, and then I want to also power things that this probably will not be able to power, just to see, does it kick out right away? What kind of error message or warning do we get on the screen? And we'll go from there. So let's let this charge at 46%. Probably going to take us about an hour, a little under an hour, and then we'll regroup. Okay guys, so we're back. I've switched locations here, but I want to show you, we're fully charged up to 100%. And the reason I want to do this test is this is a coffee maker and it's a pretty heavy load. I know this can power lights all day long. This can power phone chargers, lights, this can charge laptops, this could run Wi-Fi, this could charge the drone, this could power a television. Those are loads that a power station of this 1200 watt size can easily do. And I could plug lights in here and show you that, but I think if you've ever watched a power station review video, you know that that's a piece of cake. But if you are going to power lights, I do want to emphasize you should use LED bulbs. They're so efficient, and you could power multiple 100 watt LED equivalent bulbs, and you're probably going to use 15 watts, 20 watts, 25, maybe 50 watts all in if you had 10 or 1500 watt bulbs. So super efficient powering lights. But this device takes a lot of power. So I want to just turn this on, and we're going to go through a whole, I'm sorry, I should turn this on first. We're going to go through a whole cycle of having this brew basically a cup of coffee, because a unit like this takes a lot of power and it's probably going to push this to the limit. So let's just go ahead and power it on. Let me go get a mug here, and I'm going to place the mug under it. Now we're going to simulate as if we put a K-pod in here. I did fill it up with water. Let's see, I want to make sure you can see the screen here. It's pretty bright out, but I'm going to press the brew button. So right now it's pumping the water in. But when it goes to heat the water, that's when we're going to see a pretty big power draw. And this unit can produce 1200 watts steady. It can surge. Like I said, I think it was 2400. But this is really going to put it to the test in terms of steady power usage. Alright, so the water is pumped in. Let's see where we're at. So we are certainly over the 1200 watts. And you can hear the cooling fans come on. It's maintaining the load. It is definitely, hopefully, going to brew my cup of coffee. Or in this case, it's just going to be hot water, because I did not actually put the K-pod in. So I'm just going to back the camera up here a little bit while it's doing its thing. That way we can see. I'll just keep reading the screen out to you. We're still at 1400 watts, so I really like this because when it goes over the 1200, it does not just trip out. It's maintaining this load. It is maintaining, powering the coffee maker. Because let's face it, you want some creature comforts during a power outage or if you're camping. It's great to know that I can power all my lights. It's great to know that I could use the solar panels. I could power my phones, my computer, the Wi-Fi, the television. That's all cool. But I want a cup of coffee. I want to actually put this, through its paces, do something that's going to benefit me. And here we go. Look at this. And we just dropped back down to 0 on the screen because the heating cycle is done. Now it's just pumping out the hot water. So I hope you can see this was a really good test of the unit. The fans spun up, but they did not get really loud. It actually was just barely over a computer fan noise. Let's just take a look. In battery, let me just bring us back in. You can see the hot water coming out with the steam. But more importantly, here on the screen, we're at 97% battery. So we only use 3% to brew that cup of coffee. That is not bad at all. You do the math, you can get many, many cups of coffee with this unit. Okay, I want to show you another test here, and this is probably going to trip the unit, but that's okay because I just want to show you what will happen when you put too high of a load on. Now this is a Breville toaster oven. This definitely takes a lot of power. I don't know for certain, but if I were a betting man, I would say this is definitely going to trip the unit out here. So let's just bring the camera in a little bit closer so you can see the screen. I'm going to go ahead and put this on toast and press the button. I anticipate, like I said, that it will trip off. Here we go. We are pulling 1750 watts. That is significantly over the 1200 watts that it is rated for continuous. The fans are spinning up. The screen just times out, but it's still on. I don't know, guys. This is actually maintaining it. This is maintaining the toasting cycle. So let's take a look at the toaster. It's telling us we've got 2 minutes and 36 seconds to go on the cycle. Wow. I am actually pleasantly surprised to see that this can maintain, again, the toaster. And actually, in fairness, the wattage did come back down. It jumps up initially when the toaster turns on, but we're at 1263. This thing is rated for 1200 continuous, so I think this is another very successful test to show you that during an outage you can make a cup of coffee, you can make some breakfast, heat something up in the toaster, make some lunch if you need, continue powering your lights, power your television, power some creature comforts to make your life a little bit easier. So wow, I'm impressed. Like I said, that 1700 watts, that was kind of just starting the toaster up. That 1700 was significantly above, but we know it can do it. There's one other thing I just want to mention here, and it pertains to this unit and really all portable power stations, because I've come across this in reviews and comments. I've actually come across it in my own personal life with a whole bunch of power stations. When you get the power station, first thing you should do is charge it up to 100%. And if you try to do that and it does not make it to 100, let's say it stops at 70, 80, 90, whatever that percentage is, and you can't get past 100, a lot of people's natural reaction is to say, oh my God, it's broken, let me leave a bad review, let me send it back. That has happened to me before with several units. What you need to do is wherever it stops, plug in a device and let it drain all the way down to 0, or when the unit turns off. So in this unit's case, it turns off at about 4%. It won't let you go to 0, which is fine. It's doing that to protect itself. But let it drain down until it turns off and then recharge it, and 90% of the time it's going to get to 100%. If it doesn't, repeat the same process. Plug in a load, let it drain down until it turns off, and then bring it all the way back up and you'll get to 100%. And you're probably saying, well, why is that the case? A lot of times the BMS, or the battery management systems, need to be recalibrated. They need to see where 0 is, or where empty is, and then get back to full. It's a common problem across all brands. If it happens to you, it's not a big deal. Plug in a device, get to 0, turn it off, and then recharge it. You should be able to get back to 100. Now, I will tell you, when you get to 0, don't stay there for like days and weeks, because you could actually damage the battery, and then it could become impossible to charge it back up to 100. So when you get to 0 and it turns off, only hang out there for a little bit, as short as you can, and then plug it in and recharge it. Guys, I hope you've seen from all the tests, the solar panels, that this is a really versatile unit. And as we're kind of wrapping it up, I want you to see kind of in front of me here, I'm charging my Chromebook, I'm charging the drone because I want to go out flying this weekend, and I'm probably going to take the power station with me, because while I'm flying, I want to have my extra batteries charging, and I want to be able to just enjoy the day without worrying about power. This unit's really versatile, from the cool little compartment up top to store your cables, and it stores the power cable, but you can also store multiple USB-C cables and anything you need, so you've always got all your cabling with you. To the light on the back, which I absolutely love, and I tried the light out in a dark room, it illuminated it perfectly. And even if you're camping and you have this on the campsite, that light can light up your camping area, it can light up the inside of your tent, so you don't need to bring a lantern. It's just a versatile unit. And even with the blackout, you can power, as I showed you, a toaster oven, a coffee maker. You know, if it can power those things, it can power lights all day long. It can power a fridge. I tried it on my full-size fridge. Fridges don't take a lot of power. A lot of folks think that they do, and they kind of get worried. I didn't want to show you the fridge on here because the fridge, running is going to take about 90 watts. That can do this, or this can do that all day long. I wanted to show you the toaster because that surged to 1700 watts, and that coffee maker that was over 1200 watts. Those are real loads that people really question, can this do it? And as you saw, it really did do it. Also, like the carrying handles, it makes it really convenient. I own multiple power stations, and power stations that have 2 carrying handles on the side kind of built in, those are my favorite. I actually took this out of the car, carried it up the stairs with one hand, while my other hand was free to do things. That's how light the power station is. I think we were around like 28 pounds, give or take. That's not bad at all. If you have any questions, do me a favor, leave them in the comments, like and subscribe. I will answer every single question, and I'll see you on the next one.